If you look closely at the modern world, you will see a paradox so profound, so terrifyingly fragile, that once you understand it, you can never unsee it. We live in an age of unprecedented wealth, technological marvels, and instant global connection. Yet this entire structure, your house, your salary, your government's budget, and the global financial system itself rests on a single, unsustainable substance: debt. Debt is not new. For 4,000 years, from the clay tablets of Mesopotamia to the ledgers of Renaissance Venice, humans have borrowed from the future to survive the present. Kings borrowed gold to fund wars. Farmers borrowed grain to plant crops. For most of history, debt was intimate, a personal obligation between two people or two small entities. It was seen as a burden, a curse, even something entire religions warned against. But today, debt has morphed into something entirely different. It is abstract, it is anonymous, and most crucially, it has become infinite. We are taught that debt is a tool, a stepping stone to prosperity, a mortgage for a house, a loan for education, a bond for infrastructure. We are taught that borrowing signals ambition. This is the great lie of modern finance. Debt is no longer merely a tool for progress. It is the system's business model. It is the fuel upon which modern civilization is addicted, and without an ever-increasing supply of it, the entire machine stalls and dies. This is the untold story of the fatal addiction. We will trace how debt became the most profitable product in human history, why your financial freedom is antithetical to the system's survival, and what happens when the financial shark, which must keep swimming or die, finally runs out of ocean. To understand the addiction, we must first understand the fix. And the fix began in 1971, the year Richard Nixon shattered the gold standard, severing the last tangible tether between the dollar and reality. Before 1971, money was bound by discipline. You could not print gold, you had to earn it. This constraint was a leash on government power. But when Nixon closed the gold window, the world entered the age of pure fiat currency, money backed by nothing but government decree. The power that was unleashed was something even the Roman emperors could only dream of: the complete and total monopoly over the creation of money via a simple keystroke. The immediate consequence of this shift was a profound philosophical change in the nature of money itself. For most people, this fact remains invisible. Every dollar, every pound, every unit of currency in your bank account is someone else's debt. It is not wealth, it is obligation. This is the mechanics of the fractional reserve system, which is the hidden engine of modern debt. When you take out a loan, a mortgage, a business loan, the bank does not lend out existing money from a vault. It creates new money out of nothing when you sign the contract, adding digits to your account. The system must maintain this lending cycle, because if people stop borrowing, the money supply shrinks, the economy contracts, and jobs vanish. The addiction is structural. The entire global economy, therefore, does not run on savings or production. It runs on new credit. The financial elite recognized this new architecture and exploited it to its maximum potential. Debt was no longer a necessary evil. It was the ultimate financial product. Imagine a product that costs nothing to produce, never runs out, and somehow becomes more valuable the longer people hold on to it. That product is debt. A savings account earns the bank crumbs, but a loan multiplies through interest, fees, and penalties, keeping the borrower hooked for decades. For lenders, a customer who never truly escapes the cycle is the perfect scenario. This system was aggressively marketed. Debt was rebranded from a sign of desperation to a badge of convenience and opportunity. Want to go to college? Student loans. Want a house? Mortgage. Want instant gratification? Credit cards, or buy now, pay later services. Credit scores became the gatekeepers of modern life, a 3-digit number deciding your access and thus your quality of life. The ancient model was simple. Debt meant chains in Mesopotamia or Greece, where inability to pay led to debt slavery or loss of land. In modern times, the chains are invisible, made of interest rates and contract terms, but the control mechanism remains the same. The system is designed for you to be debt-free. It is designed to keep you indebted, generating profit from your future labor.
This addiction is not limited to households. It dictates the fate of nations. Governments rely on debt more than ever, funding budgets and wars by selling bonds. Look at the numbers. Global debt now exceeds $300 trillion, nearly 4 times the size of the world's annual economic output. The United States, the world's supposed financial anchor, is drowning under over $34 trillion of national debt. History screams warnings from the ruins. Rome's collapse blueprint. The Roman Empire, the richest on earth, destroyed itself by running on perpetual debt, debasing its currency to fund wars, and confusing credit with creation. Emperors used debt like modern governments use stimulus to delay collapse. Spain's gold curse. Spain, flooded with silver from the New World, went bankrupt multiple times because it constantly borrowed against uncertain future treasure shipments, mistaking bullion for sustainable wealth. Britain's financial suicide. The British Empire, the master of credit, bankrupted itself by financing endless wars through debt, eventually ceding financial supremacy to the U.S. at Bretton Woods, because it could no longer service its liabilities. Every empire that thought it could borrow endlessly eventually hit a wall, because arithmetic does not forgive. Today, the U.S. government borrows over 25 cents of every dollar it spends. Interest payments alone are now crushing national budgets, exceeding spending on defense or education. This dependency forces governments onto a treadmill, where they cannot raise interest rates, which would crush the debt service costs, and cannot cut spending, which is political suicide. They are trapped. The only path of least resistance left is the inflationary path, the silent tax. When the debt burden becomes unpayable, governments deploy the last remaining tool, financial repression. This is the invisible system designed to transfer wealth without you ever noticing. Financial repression works by maintaining interest rates near zero, or more commonly, below the rate of inflation. Your safe savings account quietly becomes a guaranteed loss. If inflation runs at 5% and your bank pays 1%, the 4% difference is the quiet tax, a stealth confiscation that punishes prudence. The government benefits because the real value of its colossal debt shrinks over time, repaid with cheaper dollars. This system creates profound inequality through the Cantillon effect. When central banks print trillions through quantitative easing, or QE, or the bond trick, that new money flows unevenly. It goes first to the financial elite, the banks, bondholders, and asset owners. They buy up real assets like stocks, real estate, and commodities at yesterday's prices, creating massive asset inflation. By the time this diluted money trickles down to the ordinary citizen as wages or minor growth, prices for essentials have already soared. The elite receive the wealth, the ordinary citizen absorbs the inflation. This is why, despite decades of supposed economic growth, the average person runs faster just to stand still, trapped on a financial hamster wheel. The system rewards speculation and leverage, not labor and thrift. When the system tries to manage this decay, it resorts to denial, labeling persistent inflation as transitory or temporary market noise. But history shows this denial only accelerates the inevitable collapse, exactly as it did in Weimar Germany or revolutionary France with its collapsing assignat. As trust in paper money and policy discipline fades, the architects of the system are preparing for the final phase of control. If the addiction to debt cannot be solved, the response will be to tighten the chains. This is the rise of the central bank digital currency, CBDC. Sold as an efficiency upgrade, the CBDC is the ultimate instrument to financial control. It allows authorities to monitor every transaction, track every balance, and potentially program the money itself, setting expiration dates for spending or restricting purchases based on policy objectives. If debt was the invisible chain of the 20th century, the CBDC is the digital chain of the 21st, replacing dependency with mandatory compliance enforced by code.
This is the state preparing for the day confidence cracks, ensuring that capital remains trapped within the dying currency. This move echoes Franklin D. Roosevelt's gold confiscation in 1933, where the state redefined ownership to ensure monetary control. But this time, the seizure is digital and permanent. The tragic truth is that the global debt mountain is mathematically impossible to repay under current conditions. The only paths forward, inflation, stealth theft, austerity, political chaos, or outright default, global systemic collapse, are all painful. The system must keep swimming, but the weight of $300 trillion in debt, financed by manufactured money and sustained by fading belief, guarantees that the swim cannot last forever. History does not repeat, but its rhythms echo with cruel consistency. The addiction to infinite debt brought down Rome, bankrupted Spain, and dismantled the British Empire. Today, it threatens the foundation of the US dollar and the entire global financial order. The lesson is brutal but necessary. The financial system is designed to protect itself and the elite who control the money spigot, not you. Financial freedom is not found in chasing the next speculative mania or blindly trusting government promises. It is found in awareness. You must build wealth that cannot be printed, taxed, or inflated away. This means prioritizing real assets, land, productive businesses, gold, and commodities, things that survive when paper burns. Knowledge and discipline, understanding the Cantillon effect and positioning yourself away from the inflationary flow. Financial freedom is about mastering desire, not filling your purse. Skepticism, questioning the complexity and refusing to believe the dangerous lie that this time it is different. The addiction is fatal, and the reckoning is inevitable. The only choice you have is whether you face the cycle blind or awake. By understanding the trap, you can begin to escape the chains of the fatal addiction. If this gave you a new perspective on how debt truly controls our world, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and I will show you where to look.